Good evening. My name is Kenneth Berry, and I'm here to introduce my new YouTube channel, History Forward, and that's exactly what we've prepared to do. Or I should say, what we intend to do is to bring history to the forefront, to make it something engaging and interesting, and to discuss various topics, primarily military history, from our nation's past and the various conflicts that the United States has been involved with. I've been interested in history, primarily military history, since I was a child, and been reading up on the American Civil War and the American Revolution for about as long as I can remember. I've always been a voracious reader and continue to do so even to this day, even though I don't have nearly as much time as I did when I was a child to read. I'm currently a student working on a master's degree in military history with a concentration on the Civil War, which brings me to my next point, which is that this channel will focus primarily, however not exclusively, on the Civil War. We will discuss many different aspects of the conflict itself, as well as the events leading up to the American Civil War and the after effects. We will discuss tactics, strategy, various personalities of interest, both at the leadership level, as well as the individuals who were a little bit less noteworthy, privates, non-commissioned officers, civilians, all of those who provided or were involved in the war effort. There will be other hosts, feline hosts, that will show up from time to time. I will introduce them as they appear on screen, on camera. It will probably happen rather intermittently. So one of the many topics that we will plan to discuss are book reviews. You can see behind me I have many different books, and some of the books that I'm currently reading that are of interest that we will talk about is Crosshairs on the Capitol, and this is about Jubal Early's raid on Washington, D.C., as well as discussing other books such as At the Wall by Don Ernsberger, and Strangling the Confederacy by Kevin Doherty. At the Wall is an excerpt of a larger work by Mr. Ernsberger. It's about the 69th Pennsylvania, or the Irish Volunteers, at the Battle of Gettysburg. They were instrumental at the angle and engaged in heavy hand-to-hand combat. Strangling the Confederacy is actually concerns the United States Navy during the Civil War, kind of an underrepresented element of the war. And as I said before, I do have feline co-hosts, and the one who has just decided to make her first appearance is Miss Guinness Stout. She's named for one of my favorite beverages, and I said before, you'll see them as they choose to make their appearances. Say hello to the camera, Guinea. And I almost forgot to mention the author's name for Crosshairs on the Capitol. It was it's by Mr. James H. Bruns. Mr. Bruns is a historian and a professor. He's director, or the former director, of the History and Heritage Command's Museums Operations Division, as well as led the National Museum of the United States Navy. So Mr. Bruns has quite an academic background. We will get into the authors of the other books and delving into them much more deeply in the future. So pardon me while I refer to my notes. I'm very new at this. This is my first foray into doing a YouTube channel. and this will be a developmental process. This is part of the process for me, and this is actually more of an experimental video to get an idea as to how to set things up. Also to introduce the channel and the various properties, as well as give me some much needed practice. I'm regarding this as a developmental process, so if you are here actually sitting through this video, greatly appreciate it. If you could, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Or if nothing else, at least come back and see what comes next. Hopefully the next round will be a little bit more polished. My apologies for this one being so impromptu, as you might say. So at any rate, we will discuss, as I mentioned, book reviews. I'll also discuss movies, various historical movies, and we'll get into what I think makes them good or what makes them not so good. We'll discuss various historical aspects of the movie, as well as what is or is not accurate historically. Other aspects that I plan to discuss, primarily military history. We will discuss tactics, strategies, as well as, and there we go, there's Miss Guinness Stout showing back up. Leadership, intelligence, medical, all the various aspects of what makes up various military organizations and how they function both in and out of the combat zone. We'll also be discussing military hardware. I'm a big fan of learning about firearms and how they're employed, what their various characteristics are, and like to share them. Again, I'm not an expert, but I am very much an interested and at least partially informed individual. So going on from there, we will provide my first full-length video, and we'll be probably keeping them shorter in the future, or I should say we will be keeping them shorter videos, and we'll be looking at our first video sometime after the holidays. We'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever variation or flavor. Merry Solstice, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, and if there's anything I've forgotten, please forgive me. My memory is not always the best in the world, but certainly wish the best for all of those out there. And there again is Guinness Stout. She's also wishing everyone a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays to everyone. Take care.